The history of the Austrian textile industry paints a picture of a once flourishing economy that crashed down in flames from the 70s to the 90s. Within these 20 years, the number of companies within the industry was cut in half. After exploring one of the early fallen factories in the last episode, today we will check out one that, despite surviving the crisis, had to close down in the early 2000s. Enter Austria's most beautiful abandoned textile factory. Similarly to our last location, textile production started here in the early 1800s with hand weaving. 30 years after its opening, an investor bought the place and upgraded it with water-powered mechanical looms. 2 more owner changes later, we find ourselves in the 1870s when a family business from Vienna moved their production here. The factory stayed a family business for the rest of its 130 years of production. At its peak, the company had well over 200 employees and was a major provider for the local economy. When the last generation took over, they were faced with an old building and already outdated machinery. The team size decreased rapidly, and in the early 2000s, these machines were turned off for the last time. Since then, the closure of the mill did not only have an impact on the local economy, but also in film and literature. The future of this location is still remaining unclear. When we initially arrived, we found ourselves in empty halls that once were also filled with machinery. So there's a slight chance that maybe someday some collectors will get some love out of these. Other than that, things aren't looking too well for this piece of history. Even though vandalism has not really arrived in the machine halls, and I gotta admit that I'm a fan of what an artist did to the piano room, taggers have already taken over the office building and various side buildings. Not always with a lot of artistic values in mind. Plus, if you judge by the Urbex Austria Instagram feed, the location is getting a lot of traffic recently. All I can do is to hope that they treat my favorite lost place with as much respect as I did. In the spring, shortly before borders had to close due to the pandemic, I joined a group of Urbexers on an adventure to Croatia to document some of the most unique locations the former Yugoslavian country has to offer. Subscribe for stunning architecture, unplanned findings on the road, and even interactions with the police. If you like the series and want to support me in the creation, head over to my website. You can get pictures of this episode or any previous locations either as a digital wallpaper in 4K or printed on paper, canvas, and even your smartphone cover. Thanks for supporting the show.